everyone, and welcome to the Mountainside Podcast. Our guest for this episode is my friend Sam Warren. He's one of the founders and creators of Icelantic Ski's Winter on the Rocks event. They have been going 10 years strong. It is a Colorado staple, and it was great to have Sam in studio. He's a Colorado native. We grew up in the same town. We were able to catch up during this episode, talk about a lot of things that happen locally here in Colorado, and I hope you enjoy our conversation. All right, Jeremy, let's start this.
All right, bro, roll it.
Sam, salute, man.
Salute, man.
Happy to have you in here.
So great to be here.
This has been a long time coming, right? We've been trying to set it up for like a month and a half now, and dude, life's been crazy, man. Like I got COVID like a couple weeks ago.
Are you feeling better?
Dude, I feel great, man.
Good.
I feel really good, and honestly, it didn't really knock me down. Like
It's so interesting.
my
right?
kids got it before
Yep.
I did, so I kind of knew it was coming, and I preemptively was able to get ahead of it.
Good.
And we were talking before, I come from a music background, so
Yeah.
you know, like the rock docs and stuff, and people that take care of celebrities. So I was able to phone in a friend and be like, dude, what do I do? I want to get ahead of this thing. And
What was the program? Like, were you just doing
dude,
vitamins?
I call it the Joe Rogan Program. Because it's basically what he did and what Aaron Rodgers just went through.
Okay.
So yeah, shitload of vitamins,
Yep.
a ton of vitamin C, ton of vitamin D.
Quercetin or whatever?
Quercetin.
Yep.
Zinc was a big one.
Yep.
And then on top of that, I went and got the monoclonal antibodies. So I got an infusion.
Cool.
Like right out of the gate.
In
And-
Denver? Or
Yeah, I went to St. Joe's.
Nice.
So I ran down there real quick, and I wasn't really, I had one night where I had a fever, and as soon as I got that, I felt better. And I'm sorry, previous to that, I got prescribed some ivermectin
Nice.
from the doc, which was super cool.
I've
and
heard that's really
it's
helpful.
hard to get a hold of right now.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I just lucked out on both of those things. Nice. And then I ended up calling Rocky Mountain IV, and shout out to Gunner over there that came over. He came over and laced me up a couple times with some, high dose vitamin C.
Good.
Dude, and I cruised right through it. So the worst part was like rescheduling all the podcasts that we had lined up, because we just started ramping it up to where we're doing more than one a week now.
Huge.
Yeah, and then this came along. I was like,
Here we go.
Yeah.
Life happens.
but it's all good, man. The family ran right through it. My
Good.
wife, we're all in the same house, and
Yep.
she never ended up getting it. We were trying to stay
Interesting.
separate. Yeah. She was vaccinated, but never got it. And then all three of my kids got it, and my oldest daughter was the only one that showed any symptoms, like a tiny
It's
runny nose, and then the other two you wouldn't even know.
It's just so weird, dude, because it's like, as we continue to navigate this whole thing, it's becoming such a part of life, right? Like, especially as being on the show side and watching how they navigate, or how, big festivals or bands or even show attendees are navigating this. I think it just goes back to that, that classic motto of like, everybody's different. Everybody's going to navigate this thing differently.
100%.
And I mean, looking back over the last year, one of the things that frustrate, it's not the right word, but one of the things that I wish we all collectively did more of would just meet people with compassion with where they're at. Everybody's going to be different.
It turned into a political thing, and that's what I hate.
It became this football match of you're here or here. And it's like, listen, everybody's body's different. Everybody's lifestyle is different. Everybody's going to handle this differently, and just meet people where they're at, right? Like, because I do something differently than you doesn't mean that we have to be, we're in this together.
100%.
It was frustrating, maybe is a little bit of the right word, but also like a little sad that it was like, why is this becoming such a, black or white issue?
I know. It's ridiculous. Hey, and I totally forgot. Jeremy, thank you so much, brother. Jeremy was part of that, me putting everything together for my treatment.
Nice.
Nah, dude, my wife was.
Yeah, his wife.
I'd be a mess.
Shout out to Aaron, really.
I'd be a mess
Aaron.
if she wasn't around.
Aaron. Well, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, this guy calls me up like 3 days after he tells me he's sick, and he's like, I feel like I could run a marathon right now. He's like,
it's
this
crazy.
is the best I've ever felt in my
all the
life.
shit that I was getting, like all those vitamins and stuff like that. Like after I got that first IV drip from Rocky Mountain, I called him up and I was like, dude, I'm ready to fucking go, dude.
Let's
I
do
could
this.
run through a wall right now.
He's
I'm
telling
gonna
me
go bench 315, dude. I haven't done that since high school, I don't think.
Love it.
He
Love
told me,
it.
he's like, you should just go get one of these. Just do it. Just go get it.
Have you
And
guys
I'm
ever,
like, I'm not sick.
have you guys heard of this NAD drip?
Yeah.
Okay, so I got into the IV thing. a couple years ago.
Have you gotten one?
Yeah, done the NAD twice now.
Okay.
Dude, you feel
Is it
like
worth it?
It's insane. I mean, it feels terrible when you're getting it. Like your chest is tight, you're kind of sick to your stomach, a little crampy. But literally the next day you wake up like your 21-year-old self. Like it's insane.
Wow.
You feel like a superhuman. It's incredible. So next time you're with the Rocky Mountain Boys, see if they. I don't know if they do it.
No, they do.
Yeah.
They offered it to me, and I was taking so much different shit that I was like, I'm gonna try to just stick to what the doc says, you know.
Yep.
And they did prescribe me some other stuff like a Z-Pack and some declamethasone, like some steroids and stuff. But I never even reached that congestion period. So.
And even with the NAD stuff, like I think it's smart to not do it when you're battling whatever you're battling, or you're all greased up with vitamins and you're already on that program. But the next time you have like a big run, or you have a big, you have 7 podcasts in a row, or you have a big week in front of you, give it a shot, man. Okay. It's real. It was a game changer for me.
Yeah. Brain restoring benefit.
Yeah, it's insane. Like if you look at the founder of it, and you don't need to do it now, but if you look at the guy who is behind this NAD stuff, he's, I don't know, I want to say 60 something, whatever. The dude looks like he's 31. His dad is in his 90s. He's been doing it with his dad for like, years and years and years. His dad is like, I mean, his libido's like through the roof. He's crushing it. So
I don't need any more of that.
No. I'm good on that too. But good to know, right? Like,
no, it's awesome. And I think, isn't it a chemical that your body naturally produces? It's just as you get older, it's like testosterone. It starts to diminish, right? And it's one of those things that keeps you young, man.
Yeah. So I'm all about that.
It's crazy that doctors are looking at aging now as like a disease and not so much just something that happens.
Right.
Like it could be curable. You
totally.
know what
I mean, the
like,
science is just insane.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, man, it is. It is pretty awesome. And yeah, shout out to everybody that helped me out with that. Bella Health was another big one.
Cool.
That's Jeremy turned me on to that, and the doctors down there were awesome with getting me the prescripts that I needed and sending me to the pharmacy that would actually fill it.
Yep. You got to navigate it, right?
Yeah,
like
dude,
it's
not crazy.
It's not a linear path.
And when I talked to the Rock Doc, he was like, "Listen, this is not going to be easy. Half the shit I'm telling you right now is not FDA approved.
Right.
So this is at your own risk, So just be clear on that too. Don't go out and do exactly what I did. I'm no doctor.
Right.
It worked for me. Everybody's different, but
totally.
But yeah, I would definitely look into all that stuff if you. And the crazy thing is, you can get ahead of it, and they said that that's the best thing to do. Like.
Sure.
With Bella, they have a preemptive, like you can call them up ahead of time and be like, hey, I think I might have been exposed. And they're like, okay, cool. We're going to prescribe you this. Don't take it until you start having symptoms or test positive.
Interesting.
I don't know exactly how that works because I had already tested positive, but I know that they will preemptively do it because it takes time to get all that stuff too. To like get the antibody stuff set up. It took a couple days to get. So luckily I started before I even got it because I was like, with a 3-year-old, there's no fucking way I'm not getting this thing, dude.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the crazy thing, right? Like the information's out there if you seek it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the stuff that we're fed through mainstream media,
Pfizer.
It's just these scare tactics.
I know,
it's like,
man.
okay, I get it. Like that's also good information, but why is it all, it's all so scripted?
Yeah. And it's so wild, the industry that that you're in and I'm in as well. We're in the same industry, do a lot of the same sort of concerts and that sort of thing. And like you were just talking about being in San Francisco. I was just there a couple months ago and we were doing a show and some of the SWAT members weren't vaccinated, I guess. And these are like super fit dudes, right? Like operators basically.
Sure.
And they wouldn't let them in the show, because of it. It's like, I don't know, man. I heard that they closed down a bunch of fire departments in New York and stuff because I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's
crazy.
It's wild out there.
Yeah, it is. But let's get off of that shit. I'm glad I got through it, and thanks for rescheduling with us, bro. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Stoked to be here, man.
Closing 2021, it's crazy that we're coming up on it already. We got all kinds of shit going on. You got all kinds of shit going on, but Winter on the Rocks is coming back.
Yes, sir.
And this is its 10th year, right?
10th year, yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, man.
You're the guy that started, with Icelantic Skis, but when we had Ben in, he was saying, Sam was the guy that came to me and was like, hey, I want to do this.
Yeah. It's nuts, man, looking back on it. I mean, the backstory behind the whole thing was, we were, the trade show, SIA at the time, which is now OR, was in Las Vegas. So The show was in Las Vegas for 20 years, 30 years.
And that's the
like
ski industry, like trade show, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
all ski side. So it's all snow sports based wearables, consumables, whatever. We were, Icy was in its maybe third or fourth year. Fact check, right? I don't know exactly. Yeah. But there was rumors that the show was moving to Denver. So Hickenlooper was out in Vegas. They were going to do this big announcement. At the time, we were still bootstrapping our booth together. So like Travis Cook and Benny and myself and, you know, the 4 of us, 5 of us, whatever it was at the time.
And you're one of the first like guys to be employed by them, right? Like
yeah.
the first 4 or 5, right?
Yeah,
Something
I think,
like that.
Yeah. So I think I'm the 5th. I'm not sure. It was Benny, obviously, Parr, Travis Cook, Anna, and then myself. Awesome. So they called me back. I was in San Diego, probably up to no good surfing and, you know, whatever.
San Diego can get you in trouble.
Yeah, I crawled out of there. Yeah. I woke up upside down on the stairs one day and packed up the truck and left. But at the same time, Benny gave me a shout and was like, hey, you know, we're starting this Icelantic project. I really need someone that can trust to do, you know, at the time it was like apparel and merch. And I was like, yeah, let's go. So we all, you know, I moved back. Myself and Benny and Travis Cook moved in my parents' house. And
right up the road here.
Right up the road, yeah, right up in Highland Hills. And we kind of just got after it, man. And so, you know, fast forward 3 or 4 years, or 2 or 3 years, whatever it was, we were in Vegas. Hickenlooper was making this big announcement. I was sitting, there's like a makeshift bar that we built into the booth. Cook built it out of like steel I-beams that we drove out in our Tacomas, like, I mean, walls and everything, dude. Yeah. Like, it was, the Tacomas were.
And the union let you bring it in there?
We would bring it in on skateboards. Oh, yeah. We would backdoor it in. So we would like load all this stuff up on like skateboards and run it in. We were bootlegging it, right? Yeah. So we're sitting at the bar. I was there with my best friend Logan Boone, who owns Boone Mountain Sports. Big shout out to those guys. And we're sitting there and we're just chatting. We may or may not have been drinking tequila, hanging out at the trade show, whatever, kind of afternoon status. And these rumors were circling about, you know, the trade show moving to Denver. And I looked at Logan and I was like, man, if that trade show moves to Denver, I'm going to be the first person to throw a show in the wintertime at Red Rocks. And we both like cheersed. We were like, yeah, right, you know, whatever. At the time, I had never produced a show, never thrown a show, never done anything, but I wanted to figure out a way that we could really stick our flag, the Icelantic flag, in the ground.
And it used to be a dead time of season until you guys started doing that, and that opened the doors to it being like, now it's fucking pretty. You look at their calendar, there's shit going on year round now.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
and
going
you guys,
on.
I feel like you guys kind of opened that gate.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, there's a lot of people involved, but But yeah, for the most part, I think it really kind of opened the eyes to the city and to Red Rocks, who've been great supporters and great partners of ours since day one. So anyways, as we're sitting at the bar, we say this. Well, weirdly enough, a gal named Ann Hack, who was running all the venues for AEG here in the city, and Mary Sullivan, 2 of my great friends, they happened to be just walking by the booth, and they overheard they heard us say we're gonna throw a show, and so they came up and they're like, did you say throw a show? And I was like, yeah, you heard me. You know, if this thing moves to Denver, we're gonna be the first people to throw a winter show at Red Rocks in conjunction with the show, or with a snow show. And Anne, bless her heart, still one of my best friends to this day, she was like, well, I don't know about that, but I run the Ogden, and I run the Bluebird, and whatever, and I can
great venues, by the way.
Yeah, huge shout out to AEG. They've just been, you know, mentors and partners and dear friends of ours and mine for a long time. But she was like, you know, let's start small. Let's start and do one at the Ogden. So, anyways, we all hopped in a limo and went to downtown Vegas and had a great night and came back, and she followed up and called and was like, hey, you know, I want you to come over and meet with Don Strasberg and Chuck Morris. And like, let's just chat about this thing. So we did. We did our first show. Sure enough, the trade show moved to Denver. Hickenlooper announced it. And that following year, we produced a show with the first year, we produced a show at the Ogden with the Living Legends and Food Chain at the Ogden, and brought in a bunch of snow sports partners, and really, you know, had no idea what we were doing. Just followed Ann's lead. Made it happen. We did that for 2 years. So we did 2 years at the Ogden. The next year we brought in Big Boy. They just split or, you know, stopped doing stuff as Outcast. He was doing a solo thing. Did Big Boy.
What an
and-
epic artist, man.
Oh God! I mean, just
Yeah.
my favorite, and one of the kindest dudes ever, right?
Yeah, he
Still to
is.
this
I've met him a
day.
couple times. He's super
He's just grounded and down to earth, and
salt of the earth.
Yeah, he is,
And that's rare in this business.
right.
you
And
know?
generational, right? Like
Yeah,
as
yeah.
far as, especially in that genre, it's so, hit or miss if you can actually be a generational artist. But the dude, he's incredible. I mean, by far my favorite artists.
Yeah,
Outkast,
he's up
they
there
just-
in my top 10 probably
crush
for
it.
sure, yeah.
So, anyways, we do that for a couple years, and I start getting in Benny and on his ear, and I'm like, I'm going for this thing. Like, I'm going for Red Rocks. And they kind of were like, well, go for it, Sammy. Like, if you think you can do it, do it. My sister happened to be doing some work with Hickenlooper at the time. And so I asked my sister, like, hey, can you, get me in front of Hickenlooper? Because we have to kiss his ring, make sure that he gives, the city, grants the city the option to open this thing up in the winter. Red Rocks is at the time, and they still do, but they winterize the entire venue. So
Right.
after the last show, winterize the whole venue, take all the water out, close everything down. So I went and said, my backwards hat and saggy pants and whatever, 21-year-old self, whatever I was. And I was like, hey, man, this is the idea. I really want to do it. He kind of scoffed at it. And then I went back and he, kind of warmed up to it a little bit. And he said, listen, like, if you can get a production partner, I'm willing to, like, give you guys a shot. So we went and chatted with Tad Bowman. And Tad Bowman's I don't know his exact title, but he runs Red Rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the city guys went and sat down with Chuck Morris and Don Strasberg and presented the idea to them.
And Red Rocks is a little strange because it's like a city park and it's also a national park.
Right.
And it's like, it's
Yeah.
all this all-encompassing thing, and it's a live music venue.
Totally. So the politics, it wasn't just like renting a venue, right? The politics within that.
You pretty much get invited there. It's not like a,
Yeah.
hey, I want to play.
Right, yeah. And interestingly enough, kind of the beautiful thing about it is anybody can throw a show at Red Rocks, right? Like it's an independent venue. So you or me or whoever, if they want to book a show and throw a show, I mean, the calendar's booked out till 2030 or whatever it is, but you
Right.
could get a date in 2030 and, go for it. So I sat down with Chuck and Don and kind of presented the idea. And those two guys, man, like they grabbed a hold of it and they were like, Sammy, let's do this. Like, I think we can make this happen. So, we kind of battled around the ideas, went out to the venue a bunch, kind of researched it. There was a lot of unknowns as it relates to snow. That backstage road at Red Rocks it's got a grade of like, I don't know.
That's
3%.
pretty gnarly
It's
to get
gnarly.
to the upper parking lot. Not to mention there's a tunnel that's super tight and like...
Right, totally. So their biggest concern from a production side was, can we get the sound light? Can we get the gear in? Because
you're talking about going to the stage is even worse.
it's worse.
Because it's a crossload out of like...
Yep.
I loved going to that venue when I was touring because it was iconic. I grew up here in Evergreen, and
Yep.
we used to ride our bikes
Backyard.
down
Yeah.
Bear Creek Canyon.
Yep.
And then hitchhike home. It's a wonder we never got killed. But like,
Yeah, sneaking into the show on the back,
climbing
do
the
whatever.
rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't arrest me
Don't
now
try
for
it.
it. Yeah,
Don't
but-
try it. Too
Yeah,
many
now
times.
it's a federal offense, dude.
Straight
like
up.
I don't think it was back then, but like,
Yeah.
I've seen people hop out on the rocks and get arrested and shit.
Totally.
But yeah, no, it's crazy. And then, but if you come in there on the production side of stuff, stage managers fucking hate it because you're leaving a venue where you're used to loading your trucks a certain way.
Right.
And you have to load them backwards. Basically, of what you normally do because when they get there, the semis can't make it all the way up to the stage where they need
Right.
to unload. So there's this little concrete pad, and there used to not even be that there.
Yep.
You would have to forklift all your shit out of a truck and put it on these stake beds,
Yep.
and they could barely get them up the hill.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
So the crossload was a challenge. Getting the production up there was a challenge. We didn't really know. For the first, 3 or 4 years, literally Ben, myself, Anna, the crew was like, spending our weekends shoveling that backstage road and making
Oh,
sure
I
that
bet.
it wasn't ice and over. So anyways, fast forward, we kind of get everything aligned. We went out and found some partners. And then Don Strasberg was like, well, now I got to fucking book this thing. Like, who am I going to convince to come to Red Rocks in the middle of winter, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and if you go and research some of these photos, Jeremy, you should pull them up. And there's been a few years where people are in full get up, like the full, like they're going snowboarding,
snow
basically.
party. Yeah, it's hilarious. And like kind of one of the quintessential pieces of Winter on the Rocks.
Have you guys
right?
ever had a snowball issue?
We haven't had a snow.
I shouldn't have said that out loud. We can edit that out.
Yeah, no. All good. Right. We've only had snow in the venue. So a couple of the years, it was snowing during the show. One of the most memorable years was Ghostland Observatory J5, and we literally that morning I woke up, and we'd already we were smart enough. AEG was smart enough to do the production load the day before, so we beat the snowstorm in. But it was one of those weird like January snows where it was like it started as rain and then was sleet and then was snow. So I got to the venue at, 9 o'clock in the morning, went up to the top, started walking down, and I was like, oh shit. It was 4 inches of snow on top of 2 inches of ice. And I was like, we got to cancel it. Like, what are we going to do? I don't think it's safe. I was sitting there at Red Rocks like, what the fuck do we do? What's going on? Hopped on social media, put out a post and said the first 50 people that get here to help me shovel this place, VIP, whatever you want, you're in. And dude, like 30 minutes later, 50 people were there with snow shovels. We cleared the venue. Awesome. It was just like a testament to the awesome community we have here in Evergreen, Colorado, the amazing community that Icelantic has. It was 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and people just started showing up. We had to close it down. I was like, we can't give any more tickets. But, some of the most memorable shows that night or that day, it kind of stopped snowing a little bit. Ghostland hit the stage. It was their reunion show. They hadn't played together in 2 or 3 years. They hit the stage, and their laser package, as you know, is insane, right? Like
you got to call the FAA when they start playing.
Straight up, dude. You're like wearing sunglasses and like, please don't blast anybody in the face. And dude, the snow started falling. The laser package was on fire. It was like diamonds in the sky. It was insane.
Wow.
So yeah, the snow's been an issue. It always is an issue, right? We lead really first with safety. Like, can people get to the venue safely? Are they going to have a safe experience? We trust the city on that stuff. And then, as long as we're feeling good about it, it's like, let's go for this thing. So, it's been awesome. We had that first year was Atmosphere.
Another great artist.
Yeah, and great dude.
Your guys' lineups. Let's talk a little bit about that, dude. Yeah. In the last 10 years, man, because these aren't no drop in the bucket artists that are coming out to this. Thing either.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was. Interesting, right? Like Atmosphere was. We had some relationships with him. We connected with the Living Legends really early on, and so all those guys have just been dear friends of our brand and dear friends of us for quite some time. And they connected us with the Atmosphere Camp, Jaybird and Sean and all the boys over there. Just love those guys. So we do that first year, blow it out, sell it out. I'll never forget, I got a call from Don right after the holiday, and it was like January 1st, and he's like, Sammy, we're going to sell this fucking thing out. And he was as astonished as I was. We didn't think we had a shot, So we get through the first year, we go into the second year, and I'm like, let's go again. And Don's like, wait, that wasn't like a one and done? I was like, no, this is like, we're starting a tradition here. And he, once again was like, well, shoot, I got to figure out how to book this thing. So we start making calls. I start throwing some lists out there or whatever. No one wants to do it. Like, we went through a list of...
It's a hard time of year to tour, too, right?
Everybody's off, right? Everybody's, down at the beach.
Or south of the equator.
Yeah, down south.
That's what we used to do with a lot of bands. Like, when I was with the Killers for years, we were endless summer, man. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, totally. You're out. So we start making calls around. He can't get anybody to do it. Like, no one. At the time, there was I had known of this artist and this young kid at the time, Ben, who was playing around in the club scene. One of my good friends, Adam Stroll, who now books the show. Don passed it on to Scotty Campbell and then Adam. But I knew Ben from through Adam from like Cervantes shows and stuff, and he was kind of this like rugged kid. He had some hard times, whatever, but he. I had heard that he was coming out with this new album that was like, socially just really on point for like some really poignant topics that were happening socially in the world, in the LGBT community, in the, like all this really good stuff. So I brought it up to Don and I was like, what about Macklemore? And he hadn't dropped the Heist yet. And Don was like, dude, that guy can't sell out like 1,000-seater. What are you talking about? And I was like, I've heard this album's coming out. It's a good fit for our brand. At this point, we don't really have an option, you know? We had Major Lazer locked up just to do support, which was certainly not a headliner. And Don was like, well, Sammy, at this point, we have to test and see how strong this brand is because we don't have anybody else. So we had waited until like December because we couldn't find anybody. Finally get Macklemore and Ryan Lewis locked up. Album drops. Thrift shop drops. We announced the next day. We were sold out the next day.
Holy shit.
And
Talk about timing,
it
man.
It was like sometimes the universe just works in crazy ways. I went up to Ben at the show because Don, whatever, at the time we booked him, he was X amount of dollars.
And they were probably ecstatic to play a venue like that, right? I mean, what is it? 10,000 or
Yeah.
what? 8,000, something like that.
Red Rocks,
Yeah.
9,500. Yeah, 9,500. So it was a big show for them. We booked them at X amount of dollars. Well, after that day that album went up, his guarantee went through the roof, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I went up to him at the show and I was like, dude, thank you for being here. And I'm kind of sorry. Like, we got it. It was so funny that he only had like 10 tracks. 12 tracks that he played. He played Thrift Shop twice or 3 times that night, and it just brought the house down. It was hilarious. So, yeah, man, we've been lucky on the artist side, all thanks to AEG. And then as of more recent, the last 3 or 4 years, my hand in booking has been much more involved with those guys, which has been great. But, Macklemore, Major Lazer has played it twice, Damian Marley. It's been just a gamut, We had Mac Miller booked and sold all the way up until January 1st. He called us personally, and rest in peace, one of my favorite artists, and just a great human. And he was going through some stuff and had to pull off. And so we had to jam Rick Ross in at the time, and that was interesting to say the least. Yeah. The dude made me. This is a funny tangent, but Rick Ross, who I respect as an artist and is, good human, he is a like a champagne
Crazy
line.
rider.
His rider was insane, but he has a champagne company called Rosé, and he part of his rider was that you had to buy like 3 or 4 cases of this rosé, and he wouldn't step foot out of his vehicle until I personally sent his TM photos of rosé on ice in the green room.
Really?
And I was like, dude, you got to be kidding me! Like this, like I was gonna get a bottle.
Was it like $1,500 a bottle?
Like 70. Yeah, I think I spent like 10 grand on this shit. Yeah. Dude didn't even step foot into the green room. Yeah. Went right on stage, came right back out. So I was stuck. My wife and I were stuck with like 4 cases of this rosé. It's like, come on, Rick. But
no, there's a lot of shit like that. Like when I toured with Wayne, he would roll in like Elvis, right? He was always on his bus. He never went to the green room. So all the shit was on his rider. Yeah. All this wardrobes, shoes would get, and he was so gracious with it. He would just, it was called going shopping after the show. Yeah. All the crew guys would go in there, and it was just like, the bus was never not stocked with liquor because he never used any of it. Totally. It's crazy.
And what's up with that? Like all the rappers, all the hip hoppers that I've worked with, on every single one of their riders is tube socks. Who the fuck wears tubes?
I have no idea.
What's up with the tube socks?
I don't know, because I was always on the stage management side and like lighting production, rigging, that sort of thing. Whenever I was doing those rap tours,
It's interesting.
I never tour managed any of those bands. Back when I was tour managing, it was out of a van and seedy hotels. And like briefcase full of cash. It just sucked.
You're counting 20s.
Yeah. I figured out real quick that I wanted to be on the production side of stuff. The first big tour that we landed, like an arena tour with one of the bands I was with, was like, okay, I'm tired of babysitting. I'm seeing how much we're paying these guys. I'm going to go do that.
I'm going on that side. Smart, dude. Smart. Yeah, I mean, you guys are the heroes, right? Like, we see it every day, day in and day out, but you guys really are the secret juice, the secret magic to those things. Yeah, man.
And it's a lot of fun, too. If you get with a good camp, it's got like that firefighter, camaraderie, military type vibe, but with way more fucked up people. You know?
It's like adult summer
I call
camp,
them characters.
Right? Totally.
Because it's just every single guy has got his own little characteristics.
Sure.
And they're not like anybody you'll meet in the world.
Totally.
And craziest fucking stories.
Totally.
And some of the shit you go through together too is insane.
They grind. Hardest workers just
I don't think a lot of people. I think
Salty
everybody, their impression of them is that they're backstage partying the whole time.
Totally.
And these dudes work like 20, 30-hour days sometimes, and there's not 30 hours in a day, but you can work it.
Yeah,
Trust
for
me.
sure. 100%.
And, you're sleeping on a bus most of the time. It depends on what kind of tour you're on, too. I figured that out real quick, too. Like, you get on like Kanye or something and it's 7 shows in a row and then one day off, and that one day off is a travel day, on a bus.
Yeah. Insane.
People want to kill each other.
Yeah, dude. I know for sure. I have so
some
much
of those guys
respect
get a
for
little
that.
spicy, man. But but for the most part, man, some of my best friends, and still to this day,
Totally.
like they're people you can pick it up with.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
and you don't see them for 10 years. You
skip
run
a
into
beat.
them in a bar or something, and it's like
Yeah.
you didn't
Family.
spend any time apart.
Family.
And Jeremy comes from the same world too.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's that's part of the my biggest passion is community building, right? Like I love putting things together where the community can really wrap their hearts around it. And it's the community's ownership or accountability for that piece. And man, music is just
not to be a downer, but
yeah,
my God, how is it? It's changed
it's changed
a lot. Man,
It has
since this pandemic, and
It
it
has.
hurt it, man. I thought
it hurt.
I thought that this industry would never
Yeah.
stop. Like I rode tour buses through the recession. And I
Totally.
was killing it. I made the most money I ever made in my
Yeah.
life during the recession because
Yeah.
people had,
Yeah.
they were spending their money on concerts. But
Totally.
and I, knock on wood, I was saying I've never seen anything slow this industry down. Lo and behold,
Yeah. And it was quick, right? Like,
Yeah.
We were lucky enough. Winter on the Rocks in 2020 was the only full show that played off in 2020. Yeah. They did some like little 500 seaters and some live stream stuff, but we played off in 2020. And I remember, when and I'm sure everybody has their own story. It's kind of like 9/11, right? But like, I remember when everything locked down and I looked at my wife and I think at the time we had 6 or 7 festivals on the books and big travel summer and whatever. And I was like, well, babe,
time to start a hobby.
that's
or something,
done.
right?
Yeah, I picked up a ukulele and
Yeah.
we went and I was like, I'm not going to walk away from this thing without accomplishing something.
Fortunately for my sanity, I was planning on starting a podcast prior
There you go.
to it actually happening, and then it hit, and I was like, all right, well, now I got a ton of time to invest in this.
Time
so.
for Mountainside. Let's go. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
my heart goes out to a lot of the people in the industry.
Man,
but
it's so crazy. Yeah.
It was really cool, I will say, coming out back and getting back on the road in 2021, the tears and the emotion and the love and the passion and
Yeah, for sure.
seeing everybody get back together on the production side and on the music industry side was just like, it was special, man. Like, you couldn't, there wasn't many words to put. Seeing, Jimmy, who's been throwing cases for 30 years and seeing like tears in his eyes because he's back, right?
Yeah,
like
no,
that
100%.
that was really my driving force. Was like, we got to get the industry back
there's
to work, right?
I feel like it's the industry that people have forgotten about, man. There's like, I don't know, you'd have to look at some stats, Jeremy, but it's billions of people that work in this industry around
Massive.
the world, right?
Massive.
Because all the venues have local crew.
Yep.
That helps put up the show.
Yeah.
There's road guys, there's production people, there's PR people, there's, you can go down
not
a
only
rabbit
that,
hole.
but it's just like the food industry that is
Totally.
affected by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The security guys, just
100%, yeah.
everything,
All the way down.
everything.
all
It's
the
just
way
such
down.
a
Right down to
ripple.
the guy that cleans the urinals.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy's got a
Shout
gig.
out to that guy.
Yeah, no shit, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
No, so it's it's been inspiring to kind of get back out there and see that
awesome.
come back to life and in a really different way. Like you were saying earlier, it's different. It's
Yeah,
different now.
it is.
It's however, I just huge accolades to the people who kind of figured out how to make it safe and manageable and whatever for a lot of people. I'm excited that people get to enjoy shows. Live music is such a visceral experience and so important for so many people. For me, I know that like I just nothing feels like
And
alive.
being right there too. Like you
insane.
can't do it virtually, I don't think.
No.
I mean you can, but it's not the same,
not the same.
as standing there and
Yeah.
and seeing that.
Totally, man.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I'm glad that you guys are back up and running. Who's on the lineup this year? What's going on?
Oh man, so we tooled around with a bunch of different people. But where we landed was we wanted to make sure that people came out for the 10-year and just danced and just had a great time. So I was I was lucky enough. I got put on a festival as the creative director called Bumbershoot Music Festival back in 2015. Ann Hack and Rob Thomas, two of my good friends, brought me out for
Is
that
that
one.
in Seattle?
It's in Seattle.
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I haven't been to it, but I've heard of it.
It's a good one. It's been on a hiatus for the last couple of years.
It's like right at the Space Needle or
It
something,
is.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's Seattle.
That's a
Center.
cool park.
It's a
man.
beautiful
Yeah.
site. Challenging site,
Yeah.
to say the
Yeah,
least,
no
but
shit.
beautiful. So for that first one, the two booking agents for Seattle, they brought out this act, Sophie Tucker. And my wife and I, Alex, who also grew up here in Evergreen, were sitting at the stage, and they were playing, the third stage, fourth stage, whatever. And we just heard this vibe coming from Sophie Tucker, and I was like, God, who is this? Like, who is this Sophie Tucker girl? Well, come to find out, it's two people, Sophie and Tucker. And we went over and started watching. I was like, these guys are on to something, right? Like, she's beautiful. She speaks 3 languages. He's an ex-basketball player, college basketball player. Incredible energy. And that was in 2016. So
I don't know if I've heard of them. Are they like a White Stripes type vibe, or is it something different?
It's kind of different. Like they get classified as like, EDM.
I wish we
or
could
whatever.
play it on here, but we'll get fucking pulled down from YouTube. And all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shit. We're still waiting on our Spotify deal. So.
There you go. Come on, Spotify, where you at? But anyway, so, we made quick friends, and I was like, hey, let's just keep in touch, because as you guys explode, I want to be a part of that. So I knew we had a target for them. And then we were trying to figure out, who's the headliner? Who are we going to put on top of them?
Sorry, Jeremy. I'm going to mute this real quick. He's got it. Yeah. I got audio in here. Sorry.
Son of a, no stress. So I went back to the drawing board, and Major Lazer has played the show twice, and we've always just been big fans of their music, and we do it with Icelantic. We do a big sailing trip.
Are they local?
Major Lazer? No,
Yeah, okay.
It's Diplo, and then
I'm trying to think. There's another band, Pretty Lights. Is
Pretty
what
Lights.
I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
is local.
yeah.
Okay.
So we played around with that, and I was like, let's put Diplo on top of it. I think it's the right vibe. Super dancey, super fun. And then we wanted to make sure that we stayed true to our hip hop heritage. That's kind of where the show is built from. We're all a bunch of hip hop heads, minus Ashley. He's a big fish guy. But we love the spirit and the energy that independent hip hop has. So we Adam Stroll, one of our good friends, was like, "What about Talib?" And I was like, "Yeah, that fits." So we brought in Talib, and then we have kind of one of our
No Travis Scott, right?
No Travis Scott.
Okay, good.
We dodged that. Oh man, that's a
horrible fucking thing.
Oh man,
Yeah.
My
breaks
kid
my
was
heart.
just listening to Black Star yesterday.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
those albums
Just
are
discovered it.
insane, right?
Timeless. Yeah.
So we put Talib on, and then I have a couple. The DJ Matt Cassidy, who's been on 7 Winter on the Rocks, he works for the company, and just a wonderful human being and a killer DJ. So we put him on, and then I have a friend in town, Jacob Atkinson. Stage name is Jacoby. And I've just been watching this. Like, I just so appreciate his grind. I mean, the dude's a day-to-day job, medical sales rep, whatever it is. And over the past 3 years, he's just been, producing music, and I was like, let's throw him on. So the lineup this year is fun, man. It's going to be live. It's going to be
That's awesome.
It's going to be really dancey, and it should be a really good one.
And when are you guys doing it?
January 28th. So
Okay.
it's the Friday of OR.
Tickets on sale now?
Tickets are on sale now.
How do people get them?
You can get them from AXS. I believe the city of Denver also offers you to buy them without the AXS fees or the access fees from the Coliseum. I think there's a couple different ways you can get them. But they're flying, man. We haven't had an on sale like this since Macklemore, truthfully.
That's awesome.
So,
I think people are ready to get back out and get back after it.
Yeah.
So
and get back
taking
to that
advantage.
Snowstorms 5. One of the coolest things about it is we have people come to Winter on the Rocks every year that do not give a shit about who the lineup is.
Yeah.
They're just out there to put on their snow gear and go dance in the snow and appreciate, in my opinion, humble opinion, I'm sure yours too, the best venue in the world, right?
Oh my God, dude. Like, how fortunate are we?
You can name a bad show you've been to at Red Rocks. Like,
I can't. Yeah.
You're at Red Rocks.
People are ecstatic to play there.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do something different there. They want to perform their best. Like,
yeah, it's just it's
I
magic.
got some fucking epic memories of coming through there on
Totally.
tour and stuff, and some
Who
special
was the
stuff.
first show you ever saw there?
My very first
Yeah.
show was the Grateful Dead.
Jesus.
Nice.
With Jerry Garcia too, and
There
I
you
was
go.
like,
No way.
I think I was 10 or 11.
Yeah. There
My
you go.
buddy told his mom that he was staying at my house, and
Yeah.
I told my mom that I was staying at his house.
Smart.
And we rode BMX bikes down Bear Creek Canyon.
Yeah,
and
buddy.
climbed the rocks. and
Yeah.
we actually dodged a rattlesnake that day.
No
we went
way.
down early,
Uh-huh.
and dude, it was awesome, man. We were checking out hippie chicks that were all naked.
Yep.
We hadn't seen a naked woman
Yep.
in
In the flesh.
in the flesh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just the teepee set up. It was like a 4-day experience. We went back the next day. Dude.
Yeah, buddy. I love it. Hit the lots.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It was a good time, man.
It's a special place. I think my first was Dave Matthews.
Okay.
I was like 10 or 11, and I wasn't much
He's
of a,
another great dude. I toured with him for a little bit.
Yeah.
He's a fucking just
takes care of his people.
salt of the earth. Like,
yeah.
he's one of the coolest people. He's just he loves to hear anybody and everybody's story. Like
Right.
I've seen him have the janitor cornered, filling his mop bucket and asking
Killer.
about his kids, and
Killer.
and the janitor has no idea who he is. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? He's like, "What? Why is this
the
guy
best.
talking to me?"
The best.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's just that type of person.
yeah, it's so refreshing too when you get to work with artists who really just give a shit. They're just good people.
Yeah.
And we've been really lucky enough that I can't think of an artist on Winter on the Rocks who hasn't just been super kind, really behind the idea.
That's awesome.
And just down, just down to be a part of it. So
Yeah.
it's been cool.
Man, I got to share this experience because shout out to the Killers, man. Brandon Flowers and all those guys.
Incredible.
So I toured with them for a number of years, and we're coming through Red Rocks. They knew it was my hometown. They actually came up to Evergreen.
Nice.
We went and fished a little bit and did some other stuff, and showed them around town, some of the band members and some of the crew, and that was really cool. And I think we had lunch at Keys on the Green,
Yeah.
and that sort of stuff. And so they got to experience that a little bit, and where I was from, and my grandparents came to the show, and they have no idea who the Killers are. They're like, the Killers? That sounds a little like.
Sounds a little
Is
dark.
are you working for Slayer? They would have
Yeah.
thought I was working for Slayer or something,
yeah.
right? So, anyways, they meet the band members and all that stuff, and at sound check they kick everybody out of the park,
Right. Yep.
so the band can actually have a sound check. And they let my grandparents stay. They got to meet both of them. And then Brandon asked my grandmother, he's like, so what artists were you into? And she's like, well, when I grew up in the 50s, and Elvis was a big deal. So their entire sound check was Elvis songs.
Nice.
And they had a good time. So my grandparents had like this private concert at 4:00 in the afternoon.
Best.
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
Dude.
It was like the whole venue to themselves. So
Yeah.
it was epic.
I think people
Yeah.
underestimate that. The good artists, there's so many good people, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's inspiring. I mean, that being said, there's some shitty ones out there too. There's some shitty ones. There's some hard ones, but the good ones make up for
Yeah,
it.
no, they really do.
For sure.
So, Pinecone Project, explain that to me. That's something that started in the last couple of years, yeah? or-
Yes, we started it in 2016. Two of my best friends, one has passed away, rest in peace, Gary. Sorry.
Yeah, man. No, it's all good, man. Take your time. You want to pause for a minute? Or?
No, I'm good.
Okay, all right.
It gets me every time.
Yeah, man. That's hard, man. I lost a couple friends this year. One of them was a family member, and
Yeah.
it's rough, man. It's
Hard.
like there's, especially, I mean, people have gone through so much in the last couple of years, and
Yeah.
you never know when it's going to happen. So just
No.
try to treat people right, man. It's
Yeah.
just the
Just
golden
precious.
rule. Yeah.
It's just precious. It's finite. So we were doing, the three of us were working with Icelantic, working out at Icelantic. We'd been there for quite some time. At the time, there was like this, this was in 2015, 2016. Icelantic was doing its thing, right? Like Winter on the Rocks was a thing. We were really we were doing a bunch of other shows around the country and trying to just support our dealers and whatever. And
And for the listeners that don't know what Icelantic is, it's the most epic ski company
yes,
out
it
there,
is.
dude. I love their
Yes, it
products.
is.
It's just a badass company. Check them out. The
Yeah.
artwork's incredible. Travis Parr, is an amazing artist that does all the art for the skis. And the crazy part is a lot of it is born and bred right here in Evergreen,
right,
dude, which
everybody's
is cool.
from here. It's incredible.
We'll dive into that in a minute,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
let's keep going on Pinecone.
Yeah. So we flew out. We were doing like a long weekend at John's house down in Florida, and Gary and I and John flew out there. And I said, hey, listen, like I love the Icelantic thing. It's always going to be my family. I'm always going to be a part of this brand. However, I think there's a real opportunity to kind of do some other cool experiences. You know, we were getting pulled into. I was getting calls from Seattle for Bumbershoot, and the AEG guys were asking me to hop on a bunch of projects. And I said, hey, listen, like, I think there's an opportunity here where we can continue to do what we do with Icelantic, mostly on the marketing side and the experiential side. And also, like, you know, I think Icelantic would appreciate if we continued to do that and we peeled ourselves off and started something new.
Open some more doors.
Yeah. So Gary Wyman and John Mueller and I started Pinecone Project in 2016. And then, due to terrible circumstances, Gary got ALS, was diagnosed with ALS in 2017. He passed away the following year, and John kind of went on and he's still a partner in the business. But he went on and kind of did some real estate stuff. So for the last 4 or 5 years, it's really kind of just been me grinding it out and doing experiential stuff. I do one or two like private party stuff for companies that I really love and appreciate. Velocity Global, big shout out to those guys. Nice. And then, you know, we just do experiential shows, festivals. So we have about, 15 to 20 big festivals that we do on an annual basis, and then we work with all kinds of brands on really kind of just delivering a full experiential component to their brand. So we do stuff with the Moorings, and we do stuff with Velocity Global, like I said. So it's been a fun project, man. It's all over the place.
It's awesome, man. And what are we looking at here? Is this your website?
Yeah, that's the website.
Oh, cool.
There's Gary right there on the right.
Nice.
Evergreen Boy as well. On the left is private that we did with Nathaniel Rateliff and the crew, and up above that is some of the projects we did with the Moorings. We do all their a lot of their catalog work. We have some avid and passionate sailors as part of the Icelantic crew, Scotty and Ashley, and they every year we go down to the islands and they take care of us with a boat.
They just went, right? Because I was watching Ben's post on Instagram, and they're fucking epic, man. It looked like a lot of fun, dude.
Yeah. So that was like an Ashley project that he's doing called the Mashup, where he actually did a full flotilla, 35 people, insane.
Wow.
That he did down there. So the Icelantic cruise trip with the Moorings is coming up, and we'll do French Polynesia in March. So it's epic, but it's a fun project. Bumbershoot has been a big one. We produced that with AEG. Did all the creative direction for that one. We did that for about 6 or 7 years, and then this past year got pulled into Rocklahoma, born and raised.
Okay.
Some other large scale stuff. So it's been fun, man.
Yeah. Where was Rocklahoma? Is it an outdoor deal or is
outdoor?
Okay.
Pryor, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Woo.
Hot.
Different.
Yeah.
Hot, sticky.
It's like going to Bonnaroo or something almost, huh?
Dude,
yeah, it's one of those type of vibes.
And it was so eye-opening. I mean, not only the COVID stuff, but
right.
Just Oklahoma and the rock crowd.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can't unsee.
Yeah.
A lot of things you can't unsee.
Yeah, I toured with a lot of rock bands, and I kind of came up in the punk rock era here, like going to venues like the Ogden and growing up in those places and the sweat dripping off the ceiling,
Totally.
and seeing, just incredible bands for like $6 or $3 or whatever it was. And you were seeing like Dead Kennedys, Face to Face or any of those venues are, man, going down memory lane.
Totally. And it's so ingrained in the community here. Like,
it is.
People don't realize that Evergreen alone, I mean, Brandon from Rise Against from Evergreen. What's the guitarist for Limp Bizkit? Wes.
Wes, yeah.
He's Evergreen Bowl. There's so many musicians.
There's a ton. And Scott Weiland had something here, right?
Weiland was, I think his parents might still live here, but he's Evergreen boy.
And then you got Matt Stone and Trey Parker, South Park, right? They went to Evergreen High School, I think, with like my uncles or something.
Yep.
It's crazy, man. This community is crazy.
Totally. And it's still
from the art side of things, right?
Totally.
Like, look at how much art comes out here.
Totally.
And just whether it's music or Icelantic skis or Travis. I mean, like,
it breeds creatives.
Yeah, it really does.
So many. I mean, even what you're doing with Mountainside, like, it's impactful, and there's Evergreen's special in the way that it really
is. That's one reason why I came back too.
Yeah, it harvests this creative energy, man. There's something special about this place.
It is really epic.
I don't know about Conifer, but
a little rivalry going on there. No. But back when we were going to school, that's when the split happened.
It was,
Like, so those kids used to come over to Evergreen. Yeah. Yeah, that was a big split.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember like the Conifer, or that was it West Jeff coming over.
Yeah,
and
West
there was
Jeff.
even a little bit of rivalry there,
West
you know,
Jeff.
like
But it was nice though. Like
Yeah.
you kind of like got an influx of new people.
now it's
right?
totally different.
It's totally
like the
different.
Mountain Bowl happens up here, and
Totally.
it's I don't
It's a
know. I didn't
thing.
go this year, but it is a big deal.
It's a
like,
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's cool, man. And much love to everybody who's on
Absolutely.
the Conifer side. Mountain communities have a special
yeah.
place.
We got a
Idaho
lot of friends over
Springs,
there too.
you
Yeah,
know, Idaho Springs all the way out.
The
so,
Clear Creek kids.
Yeah,
and
I'm down with it. You could always tell a difference. You know, you
Yeah.
show up in a room and you see an Evergreen kid, you see a Conifer kid,
Right.
you see an Idaho Springs kid, and you're like, all right, I got
Yeah.
you. I know where you're from. So
yeah,
funny,
that's
man.
funny, man. Yeah, going down memory lane. You know, Colorado in general, we're so lucky. Like I said, growing up here, and I took a lot of that for granted. You know, but yeah, man, not only that, like the stuff, just the businesses that are around here, like the Wildflower, and just like that little bit of community, and just it's like buddies. You know, it's
crazy.
friends, and they help us out, we help them out. You know, like
Yep. When Corey and Graham started the Wildflower, my mom was a chef there in the mornings on Tuesday
really?
mornings. So I would go in.
epic place. If you're ever in Evergreen,
Gotta
that's
go.
a staple. You have
gotta
to
go.
go. Evergreen Breweries, another one, right?
Got to.
Yeah.
You can't skip it. But it was cool. Graham, who started the Wildflower with Corey and Mark, you know, they were here I think they ran it for 10 years or whatever. And I remember the shakeup because I was like, you know, their green chili is just on fire, right?
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
The sushi night.
Oh, come on. You got to. Big shout out to Colin and Britta and the
Yeah.
Wildflower crew. But when they decided to sell, I remember it was like this, you know, this hole in my heart. I was like, no, like they're
do
bouncing. They're bouncing to Florida. They're doing whatever. And then came in, you know, this new influx of folks, and there was an owner temporarily in between them and Colin. But then Colin came in with Britta.
Colin's such a great dude, man.
And dude, it's
Yeah.
like this is the perfect match. Like this is exactly what this place deserves. And so Wildflower, man. Yeah. Evergreen Brewery.
Yeah.
Boone Mountain Sports.
If you're
I mean,
up
there's
here,
so
yeah,
many
these
good
are the
ones.
spots you got to stop.
Yep.
Crazy. Jeremy's got a story about that's part of the reason why Jeremy moved into Evergreen is because he ate at the Wildflower or something, right?
Nice.
It's
Jeremy?
not
Isn't
totally
it?
true. But
Okay, yeah.
It just happens to be where we ate every morning when we were looking at
Yeah.
houses, and I went, oh, I could eat here every day.
Yeah. Those potatoes, dude.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Potatoes. God.
That's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to all those guys, all of our friends over there. Really good at putting on shows,
Thanks,
putting
man.
stuff together, making events happen, and on a different level than your typical thing. If you had an endless budget, $100 million,
Nice.
what would that lineup look like?
Okay, here we go. The
dream, right?
The dream question. Dude, I don't know. It's a great question. I battle with it all the time. Like, what would it be? Where would it be? I think it would have to be, for a while, and you probably remember this, there was a music festival at Red Rocks for a long time called Monolith.
Yep.
And Monolith was, it was one of the best. They put the second stage at the top of the venue. They popped a stage out in the north parking lot. I think there was 5 stages. It was back when they would allow camping at the park. And
Totally different vibe,
different
right?
vibe, different generation, different time. But I've always said, like, if I could get that thing back up and alive, it'd be amazing. I think
Especially with 6 million people living here now,
Totally.
dude.
Yeah.
And the tourism that we
Totally.
get.
And
Yeah.
in Denver, uniquely, we really haven't been able to sustain a music festival. I mean, Mile High Music
Yeah.
Fest, Rob Thomas and AEG and the
They
boys.
just tried
did that.
one a couple years ago in the
Grand
park.
Doozy.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
So the Superfly guys brought me in for that one, and they gave it a good shot. But the city of Denver, not many people know this, but the city of Denver itself really protects the city from music festivals. Like, that's why there's not one at City Park. That's why there's not one at Wash Park. There's just a crazy tax. So Grand Doozy was just outside the city limits in Inglewood, right at the golf course, and Mile High was out at Dick's.
It didn't do that well, right? Like
It didn't. They got crushed. I told them, I gave them a heads up. They tried to, they put Stevie Wonder on the Sunday that was the Broncos home opener against the Raiders.
Yeah,
And I was
not
like,
gonna happen.
I was like, you're not going to sell any, I don't care who it is. You're not going to sell any tickets.
Is it hot in here? I'm gonna turn down the heat.
Yeah,
dude.
You're all good. Whatever. Yeah, so dream lineup, I don't know. It'd be definitely, I think, I'd have to honor my heritage and do something at Red Rocks. I don't even know who I'd book. I'm a massive supporter of local music. There's so many amazing musicians here in town. I think
There really is. Like people don't realize the music scene that happens here in Denver. Like, we just dropped a bunch of artists that are out of Evergreen specifically,
Right.
but like those bands like that come out of Herman's Hideaway, the Fray. I
Insane.
mean, that's how I got my start.
Insane.
Yeah.
You know? So I think we'd have, certainly we do a local component. And then I'm all about multi-genre stuff. So I think, a little bit of everything for everybody. I'd love to do some heritage stuff, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The dream's out there.
So your background growing up in Evergreen,
Yeah.
and then you said you moved to San Diego.
Yep. I was in
Were
North
you in
Carolina
Evergreen from originally? Like,
born and raised.
Born and raised.
Born and
Okay.
raised. Western Drive up in Highland Hills. Yeah, man. I was out here. I played soccer all the way through. Took a scholarship, went to North Carolina.
That's crazy because our school was so big. I mean, I'm sure we hung out at some
Totally.
backwood party
For
somewhere
sure.
or something.
Yep.
But like
Up at the
it's just a
slaughterhouse or
crazy-
something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So I was lucky enough to get a scholarship and play ball in North Carolina. Was out there for a year, and it was like a dream to go and play and, kind of repay my parents or whatever it was, honor their commitment to me, busing me down to the city every day to practice or whatever. And went out and played out there for a year, and I was just lucked into being a starting center mid for as my freshman year. And I, as much as I really appreciate that experience, I really I left and I went to San Diego with a buddy. And I realized
It's like where all Evergreen kids go.
I know.
Hermosa Beach or
yeah,
San Diego.
Yeah. Give me to the beach.
Yeah.
Give me to the beach. And I got there and I was like, I don't know if I want my college experience to be just filled with practice and buses.
Mm-hmm.
And I went surfing for the first time when I was in San Diego on that trip. And I got out into the water, never knew how to surf, grew up snowboarding, and started crying. I was out in the water and I was just bawling. And it was one of those experiences where I was like, man, I think I can put this soccer chapter. I think I can put a period behind it and go and do something else. So I was out in San Diego for 4 or 5 years, and just having a blast and, doing whatever odd jobs I could get and bartending or, building fences, whatever. And Benny called, and at the time my dad was sick, so it was a good time for me to come back. And he was like, let's go for this thing. Let's do this Icelantic thing. I want you on board. So came back to Evergreen, lived here back in Evergreen proper for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and then made my way down to Denver and have been in Denver since.
That's epic.
Yeah.
What, growing up here and with the Icelantic background and all that stuff, Warren Miller, the Warren Miller films. Have you
Yeah.
guys done anything with him? Or
Yeah,
I'm
man.
sure that you have,
Oh,
but
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
is that anything in the works with that? Or
I don't know about currently, Benny. I know we certainly have had a bunch of our athletes in a lot of those films.
is he still
Julian
making
Carver.
films? Like,
Yeah. The brand's still alive. There was a weird split with Warren Miller himself.
Okay.
From the Warren Miller brand.
Kind of have to, right? You gotta
Right.
like get with the ages a little bit on the technical side.
Yeah.
right?
So there was a weird split 3 or 4 years ago. But interestingly enough, Paragon Sports, which is now Boone Mountain Sports, Jen and Casey, second parents to me, but we grew up hosting the Warren Miller premiere at the high school.
Oh,
and we
sweet.
would put on a fashion show showcasing their entire line. So it's deep inbred, like it's deep in our community. It's deep in the Icelantic team's hearts. And yeah, I mean, those guys do some great stuff. And then Matt Cassidy, DJ Matt Cassidy on the shows, he hosted Warren Miller for like 3 or 4 years on the tour. So he would host the live shows, the premieres.
Nice.
So yeah, no, it's crazy.
All this Miller talk. I just saw your post with Von Miller.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
My
it's sad
boy.
to see him go.
Dude,
Did you know him personally, or
I've done some work with him in the past. I mean,
because he DJs, right, or something? A
he
little
spins
bit.
a little
like,
bit. Yeah, he does a killer
Is he
Halloween
good?
party. Yeah. He can
as
spin.
good as an NFL pro linebacker
Yeah.
could be, right?
I mean, he's
Yeah.
got those huge hands, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that was crazy. So I was producing one of the companies that I produce a private event for. We always surprise them every year. Big shouts to Ben Wright and the Velocity Global family. My wife Alex works for them, so they asked me years ago to produce a secret private show, and we had it booked last year, had to cancel the show because of COVID. They did it right this year. Everybody was, they went through all the precautions. They flew, I think it was 200 people in from 80 countries or something. Like they really kind of just rolled out the carpet for their people. They really take great care of their people. And I did a surprise show, which if you ever do a show, don't do a surprise show because you even have to hide it from your wife, right? Like you can't tell anybody who.
Well, when your wife works for the company, right?
Yeah. I'm like closing my computer really quick. She's like, "What are you looking at?" I'm like,
I've
"It's
done
not
some crazy
bad."
shows with some of these bands because we get booked for private shows.
Yeah.
Like we played for this one band I was with. We played for the Sheik or something that was like in the middle of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And it was like literally one dude in the room and that's it.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah.
So we were doing this private show. The big.
Jeremy, you all right? Somebody mug you?
Dude, the most. Some dude just busted open the door trying to sell me photographs.
Nice. Grab me one.
Tell him to beat it.
Grab me one.
When I stood up, I flipped the mic on.
Nice. I like it.
Oh, dude, don't worry. He said he's coming back.
Okay,
Perfect.
cool.
About it.
Yeah.
Good.
Tell him I'll be here on Tuesday.
There you go. Yeah, day off. So we're doing this surprise show. We brought in Flo Rida as the headliner. We brought in Shaggy.
Flo Rida.
Yeah, the dude throws a show. Brought in Shaggy before him, but I really wanted to kind of find somebody to welcome everybody. Weirdest thing. So I call some connects, get a hold of Vaughn's camp. I'm like, hey, you want to come like welcome everybody? Yeah, of course, I'm down to come or whatever. The week leading up to it, I was like searching Denver, went to Dove Valley, went to Mile High Station. I could not find Von Miller jerseys for him to sign and gift to the company. Couldn't find them. Like they were gone. And I was like, this is weird. Like we're talking about our number one like Denver face of the Broncos. Why can't I find any jerseys?
Lo and behold,
scramble around. So he comes in on Thursday and I find some jerseys, whatever. And the news dropped on Saturday. So I was like, oh, now it's making sense. They stopped printing those jerseys, right? Like somebody knew something, but dude, such a good guy. And, as hard as it is to see him go, I mean, I'm a Broncos fan for life.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Man.
I'm happy that
what a place to go, though.
Totally. Exactly. I'm happy for him. Yeah. I think it was the right move for the Broncos.
He didn't play last week, though, right? Because he was injured or something?
I don't know. I didn't follow it. But also, like, to see him go someplace that he's got a shot at getting another one.
Another ring.
Not that the Broncos don't.
Yeah.
It's cool. So.
Yeah, no, Super Bowl 50 was pretty special.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very special.
Yeah.
Broncos fan?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
And Ben's a Philly fan, huh?
So
you guys,
no
you
one
guys
knows
are
why.
going.
No one knows why. I think he likes the colors or he likes the bird or whatever. I don't know.
Crazy.
The dude and his teams. Yeah. Philly fan. It's
that's awesome. I grew up watching Elway and stuff, and then about the time that we and you were in high school, they were winning back-to-back Super Bowls,
baby.
and we watched all that suffering for so many years. Like
talk about the city
and
coming
then
alive.
God, you talk about just being lucky. I did the Super Bowl halftime show for a number of years, right, on the production side of stuff, and
talk about a production.
I got to be at Super Bowl 50 when it happened.
No
so
way.
The way the credentials work is you sign up for certain parts of the game, right? So there's the pregame, the postgame, I think there's like the Lombardi Trophy ceremony. Yeah. So I was just like, I'll do everything, dude. I'm gonna manage everything. And my credential, I was on the field for
no way.
Yeah, like all but 2 minutes of the game,
That's
dude.
Incredible.
It was awesome.
What a game. Yeah, no, it's cool growing up and seeing your team kind of succeed.
100%.
I'm hoping the Rockies get there.
Yeah,
hoping we get there.
Have you been up skiing yet this year? Or?
Not yet this year. Usually I'll make my way to Loveland. Coming soon. But I to be honest,
Are they
man,
even open right now? We haven't gotten any snow, man. It's like frightening dry.
It's dry. We were just on a call. We do a bunch of Red Bull events. So we're doing a Red Bull Loom event up in.
Oh, those are super cool. I've done a couple of those.
Yeah, they're rad.
Yeah,
and those guys are
that's
good.
So cool. Talk about cool photos.
Rad.
Fuck this guy's photos.
Oh yeah, not that guy.
They still do like the light boxes, right?
Yeah.
And then it's an outdoor, like skiing or snowboarding or whatever. They got rock climbing.
It's incredible.
That's so cool.
So they're activating it at Snowmass this year, December 4th.
Awesome.
We're going to go do the build for them. And I was on the call yesterday, and the guys were like, there's no snow up here. Like, we can't even blow snow. It's too warm. Like, we can't.
Do you guys do it on a mountain?
We do it on a mountain.
Snowcat, everything up?
And they just don't have anything. So it's scary. So I haven't been up yet. I typically wait until December.
Yeah.
It's like, it's good to get the excitement up, right?
Right.
But then you go in
Yeah, but,
November
like,
and then
you're
you wait.
Yeah, skiing on a snow patch
Yeah.
that's man-made
You're
for
in
like
the White River of Death, man.
Yeah, it is open now.
Okay.
Loveland's
I
open.
don't know how much of it's open, but it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
It's been so
yesterday.
warm lately too,
I know.
man. It's insane.
Last weekend it was like 80. I was like swimming in the river. It's insane.
Dude, I went to my kid's soccer game in Golden and I
Yeah.
was like I
Flip-flops.
wore jeans
Yeah.
and I was about ready to strip down to my underwear, dude. I
Right.
was roasting.
Totally.
It was crazy.
Totally.
That's awesome, man. So you travel quite a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got a place in Mexico or something, right?
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me.
Yeah.
What's that up? Do you snowboard it at all, or what's that all
That's
about?
the goal. During
Yeah.
COVID, my wife and I have always dreamed of owning a house on the beach that we can surf out of. And when everything stopped during COVID, I looked at her and I was like, I'm not going to walk away from this. It's pretty rare that you get,
This much time.
this much time to do something cool. And, I picked up a ukulele for a little bit and then I put it down. I still like to strum it a little bit, but anyways, I was like, babe, let's go to Mexico. Like, let's go do this. I think we can figure out how to make this happen. So we found this little community, Todos Santos, which is just about an hour and a half north of Cabo. 2-hour flight from Denver. I mean, it's quicker to get from on a weekend. It's quicker for us to go from our house in Denver to the airport, fly to Cabo, than it is to drive to Vail with I-70. It's insane. Found this little spot, went through this crazy dichotomy of understanding.
Because you don't actually own the property, right? It's like a 99-year lease
So
or some shit.
There's
like,
two options.
Yeah. Okay.
There's that option. As a gringo, you can do a 99-year lease, which is all fucking smoke and mirrors, right?
Right,
Like after
yeah.
99 years, you have to buy it back. You can't pass it down through your heritage. You can't give it to your kids, whatever.
I think you just have to get a lawyer, right? You just get a lawyer involved, and
Well, there's
just
But the selling point is the period of the lease, right?
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So there's another option that it's called a fideicomiso, and what it is it's a contract with the Mexican government that you start an American LLC, you contract with the Mexican government, the actual purchase of the land. Oh, there's Cerritos right there. There's the surf spot.
Oh, that is epic.
It's insane, dude. It's insane. It's the best passion fruit mescalito you ever have had. Like insane tacos.
Hell
Good
yeah.
surf, great community. But the fideicomiso, you basically set up an American LLC, contract with the Mexican government. The Mexican government is the ones who purchase the land, and then they trust it to the American LLC in perpetuity. So it's quite a bit harder. It's quite a bit more expensive, but you own it outright.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been fun, man. We've been spending a bunch of time down there, and
So you guys just recently acquired that then?
yeah, we signed in May. It's been the 1.5-year process.
That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, we're stoked. You got to get down
No,
there,
that's
dude.
one of my goals, dude, I love going to Mexico too, man. Like that was one of my favorite spots to tour. And then when I left touring, I did a lot with major sporting events.
Yeah.
And I would do the Baja 500 and the 1000 every
Insane.
year. And then, sometimes it's a circle race.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's down the Baja. So
Yep.
it was like, I'll be in Cabo.
Yeah. I'll see you guys later. Yeah, for
I'll be at
sure.
the I'm going to do the finish
I'll
line.
do the finish line,
And
yeah.
the finish line's so much easier. There's nothing going on. It's just like an arch.
I'll set up
That's
the
it.
ribbon. Yeah, there you
the
go.
party and everything's
Yeah.
up in Baja. But
No, it's great down. I mean, the
Ensenada.
Mexican culture, the people that are down there, the food, everything
God,
is just so
when
beautiful.
I first started touring, we used to go. It was pre like all the cartel shit and all that.
Yep.
But we used to go down to Papa's and Beers and
Yeah.
Rosarito, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my
The
god,
best.
it was crazy.
So in May, when we got
I've
the
seen
property-
cars get burned and all kinds of
Insane.
crazy shit, dude.
Insane.
Like, yeah.
So in May, when we got the house, my wife and I bought a '99 Land Cruiser in Detroit.
Oh, nice.
I drove it. I towed it from Detroit back to Colorado, and then I drove that thing from Colorado all the way down to Todos Santos and surfed my way down. Oh,
So that's your get around vehicle down
it's,
there?
yeah, it's the
that's
whip.
the shit.
It's
Yeah.
the whip.
Awesome, man.
Blanco Betty, we call her. But anyways, that experience.
You got to get a donkey, dude.
I know, right?
Yeah,
I bought a horse down there.
Did you?
I don't know where it is. Mescalito, we named him.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's a company. I don't know if you know the guys at Flare Space.
No.
They do like van retrofits. They're out of
Okay.
Evergreen.
Oh, nice.
They just put together a really rad Baja experience that it's like a van meetup that's in Baja. Another great
really?
Evergreen company. It's crazy. So
That's awesome.
there's a lot of good stuff happening in the Baja, man.
Yeah, man.
It's cool.
That's a good time.
Yeah. There
Good spot.
Flare Space. Keith and Trevor and the boys.
Cool.
Yeah, they're doing some cool stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, the main purpose, you being from Evergreen and being a native and, I feel super connected to you guys just because we grew up the same, and
Right.
you guys know what we've been through and seen the influx here.
Yeah.
What are some things that you've noticed since that influx happened? I like to ask a lot of our guests this.
Yeah.
You know, and Ben brought up a really good point, you know, the last time he was in, just be respectful. A lot that comes up a lot, trash comes up a lot, but you know, what are some things that you notice that people could be doing better?
Right.
Just to help preserve some of these spots, because we have so many parks right here.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not only Colorado, man. I'm trying to raise awareness
Yeah.
across the entire Rocky Mountain range.
Yeah.
You know, even going up into Canada, the Cascade range. Like, I want this to resonate everywhere. And I think everywhere is seeing an influx. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people are going remote now. You
Totally.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. No, good point. I mean, you know, Evergreen holds such a dear place in my heart, and one of the biggest things that I see is just like how we talked about earlier, just a lack of compassion, right? It's like it feels to me a lot of what has changed from when I grew up here is just like that meeting people with where they're at, right? I welcome people to explore Evergreen in Colorado and you know, outdoor spaces. It's
everybody should be welcome to do that.
Yeah, we're lucky that we get to do that. And it feels like there's just this lack of compassion, this local versus non-local, and it's like, hey man, you know, let's meet everybody where they're at. If you see something, say something, be kind, be compassionate, you know, lead with that. And I think that alone is what drives me. You know, I really am passionate about making sure that, you know, that everybody that I meet, everybody that I chat with, everybody that I come in, I understand that we come from different backgrounds, but there's commonalities, right? We all have commonalities, and that leads to, you know, our protecting our outdoor spaces, right? Like how many times do you go for a cruise up Evergreen Mountain and you see like dog shit?
Yeah.
And you're like, dude. So
it's so common.
It's
man.
crazy.
So,
And so, that's what I try to do. Every time I'm out, you know, pick something up, leave it better than you found it.
Yeah.
Is my big thing. And
that's kind of how we were raised, right? Like,
Totally.
I don't know about you, but like growing up, my family was big into outdoors. They homesteaded part of Evergreen.
amazing.
You know, and I would literally get my ass kicked over that.
Yeah.
You know, like leaving a campfire going or leaving a mess at a campsite or, you know,
Totally.
throwing trash on the ground or anything
Yeah.
like that. You were going to get in serious trouble,
Right.
you know?
Totally. And I think a big piece of it, and probably one of our biggest responsibilities, is making sure that we educate people.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people who don't know that if you decide, if you know, these outdoor spaces allow for a campfire or whatever, that if you decide to do it, which, you know, be safe about it, but make sure that you clean it up. Make sure that you put that fire out. Make sure that you dig a pit. Make sure you do, you know, I think there's a lot of people who just don't know.
100%. And that's one reason why I started this podcast.
Yeah.
Was I'm hoping that just through conversation like this and us hanging out, and we don't always talk about outdoor stuff. I mean, look at this episode, dude. We talked about music the whole time, you know, which is totally awesome. And that's what I want it to be. But I hope that people get something out of it.
For sure.
You know, just like that. And you're 100% right when it comes to having a fire or anything like that. You know, it's like there's a responsibility that
100%.
comes with that. And I don't think that people realize how fast it can go bad, especially if you've never had one before.
Totally.
Like, it's kind of firsthand experience.
Yeah.
You start a fire, and if there's not a deep enough pit and there's wind, the fire's going to get really big really quick.
For sure.
All the wood that we burn here sends these little cinders into the air. Like,
totally.
And they'll go forever, man.
Yeah. Logan and the Boone family, I was lucky enough to get invited to build a cabin with them up in Grand Lake. So
awesome.
We've had a cabin up there. I say they've had a cabin up there for.
Did they lose it during that fire?
It was right on the fire line, dude. It was really close. Luckily, the amazing firefighters and the amazing support that our state and nationally kind of threw at that thing. It was, you remember it. It was about this time, a little bit before this time last year.
Well, it was actually when we had the one here on Elephant Butte.
Dude, how scary was that?
That was crazy because I lived right next to the Shadines.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah,
right.
And you know, shout out to Nikki too for setting this up.
2Ks.
Thank you, Nikki.
Let's go.
But
my girl.
Yeah, man, she's awesome. But anyways, we got evacuated because it was right there, and I mean, it was super quick. But the resources that they threw at that too was insane, dude.
I was at the Shadeen's house helping them pack photos up with Tammy and Scott. And Tammy was like, I don't even know what to grab. I was like, dude, just grab stuff.
Yeah.
But seeing the helicopter dip in the lake and then cruise the golf
Crazy,
course
right?
and watching that thing climb the hill was insane. But back to Grand Lake, so many people lost so much, right?
Yeah.
And
it's an epic area, man.
Oh.
It's like right at the footsteps of Rocky
Incredible.
Mountain National Park.
it's incredible.
Yeah.
Such a special place in the world. And being back up there, now my wife's family, Alex, her family owns the little mountain village or the mountain market, that little
sweet.
A-frame right
yeah,
there.
that's an awesome place.
And so chatting with them and visiting up there and seeing how many people come to Grand Lake and would ask, just like I said, not leading with compassion, they would, ask questions like, where can I go to see where the fire is? And it's like, yo, man,
Really?
like, do you
Yeah.
realize that like this community lost, like people died.
Yeah.
People lost their homes. They lost their ranches. They lost their animals. They lost family members. And you want to go see where the fire started? Like,
Right.
what are you talking about? So
wild.
I think the biggest thing that I try to do, and I think that everybody can do a really good job of with a little bit of effort, is just, meet people where they're at, be compassionate, leave things better than you found them. We live in such a special place, and there's so many of these spaces, and you see it, on the sailing trip, you see it year over year when you go back and you see a little bit less reef and a little bit more trash.
Sure.
And it's like, fuck, man, what are we doing here?
Yeah, that's insane.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's globally too. It's not just
Totally.
mountain communities, you know what I mean?
100%.
Like, yeah.
And there's some really cool stuff that's happening, right? Like seeing what people are doing from a recyclable sustainability standpoint. It's inspiring. Yeah. See what's happening from ocean cleanup stuff is awesome and inspiring. And I think there's a massive movement out there that's in place.
Yeah, I think we definitely need one here in the mountains too. I think just with the influx, and Ben's somebody that can attest to this, like, look at how many people have gotten into fly fishing in the last couple of years, and how hammered our rivers are getting, and like the water flow is changing, like, California buying the water rights to the, Roberts Tunnel and all that sort of stuff, you know, like that affects habitat and communities, and it affects a lot more than just that. And I think that's happening everywhere. It is. And like,
it really is.
So yeah, I think paying attention to what's going on around you too, and trying to be a part of it. Like if there is a cleanup thing or that trail rebuilding or whatever you can do, or helping educate people, you hit the nail on the head with that, dude. So
it's the little stuff, man. And there's such an opportunity, especially in a community like this that really gets behind events. I mean, you look at the rodeo, or you look at Evergreen Music Festival. You look at all these pieces, like let's fold in a message, an initiative to leave it better than you found it. Maybe there's a way that, to get your rodeo ticket at a $5 discount, you got to bring 5 bags of trash from
5
Elk
bags
Meadow.
of dog shit off the trail.
You got to go bring 5 bags of dog shit, and you got to show us that you threw them away.
No, we have some ideas here, and if everything goes as planned and we can get this off, we want to, be a part of that as well too.
Cool.
So,
well, let me know how I can help, dude. I'm all about that.
Absolutely, dude.
100%.
I'd love to have your help, man. I think that we could do a lot together
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Evergreen Music Fest. Logan is a massive player. Colin also, I think, is a player in that, and we're really working to try to like amplify that this year. So
anything that we can do to help with our following too.
Totally.
I mean, it's crazy because our audience, a majority of them aren't right here in Evergreen. I mean, Denver, a lot in Colorado, but it's crazy when we start looking at the demographics and stuff. It's like, it's wild, dude. We have listeners in Japan, Australia. Like,
that's amazing, dude.
It's mind blowing to me.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
You're
doing good shit, man.
Yeah, man. But anything that we can ever do to help you guys out on any of that front. So
same.
Winter on the Rocks is coming up.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and drop that again, where people can go and find information on that. Do you guys have an actual website for that, or?
So you can check out all the information at IcelanticSkis.com.
Perfect.
So there's links there. Get your tickets from Red Rocks Co. Or Access. They're flying. Go grab them quick. January 28th. Diplo, Sophie Tucker.
And it is a party, like you said. It's not so much about the art. It's a good time. It's just a good time. It really is.
It really is. Yeah. So we're excited about that stuff. We're excited. Icelantic's doing their launch of Winter Party tomorrow night down in Golden.
Nice.
If you're in Golden, swing through, check it out.
Cool little shop to go check out down there.
Beautiful.
Check out your guys' stuff.
The whole crew's in town.
Right there on Main Street.
Yep. Par flew in.
Sweet. We want to have him on the podcast too. Par,
you gotta
if
be
you're
careful,
listening to
dude.
this,
Be careful with Mr. Parr, man. You're gonna have a good time with
That's
him
all right.
for sure. No, he's a good one. He's good shit. So yeah, man, there's a lot of good things happening, and most of it is all built around the idea to kind of build community and continue to kind of give back to this amazing community that's brought us up.
Hell yeah. Anything that we can do to help with our platform, dude, you guys got a seat here anytime. So
Awesome. Thanks, brother.
Thank you, man. Before we jump off, let's drop your Instagram, the Pinecone Project, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I'm at SMMYDBS on Insta. Icelantic is at Icelantics_winter on the rocks. Pinecone Project is _Pinecone_project. And Icelantic Skis is at Icelantic Skis.
Awesome. Go follow them all. Sam's doing awesome stuff. Thank you guys for listening. Jeremy, how you doing? Still alive?
I'm waiting for my
photo.
I'm back here looking over my shoulder.
Thank you guys so much for having us, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Mountainside Podcast. If you haven't had a chance to do this already, please take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, or rate on whatever platform you catch the Mountainside Podcast at. Also, if you'd like some more information on upcoming episodes, safety tips, access to all of our affiliates, and all the badass discounts that we get here at the Mountainside Podcast, check out themountainsidepodcast.com. We wanted to let you know that the Mountainside Podcast is now available on Patreon. If you'd like access to bonus footage, behind-the-scenes content, ad-free listening, and much more, simply find the link in our bio or visit patreon.com/themountainside. And today's episode is brought to you by Onnit and their amazing line of products to help humans reach total optimization. If you don't know about this company, you need to go research it. I'm a huge advocate, and I couldn't be more thrilled that they are our partners here at the Mountainside Podcast. I've been taking Onnit products long before they were a sponsor. Onnit is a company that believes in mindset is everything, and they're helping humans achieve it through earth-growing nutrient supplements, meal replacement, unique fitness tools, workout programs, and just overall health and awareness of mind, body, and soul. Onnit is a company that truly cares about you and what you're putting in your body. So if you're looking to trust a supplement brand, or maybe you want to try something new, Onnit's got you covered. All you have to do is simply visit onnit.com and look for one of the many articles, supplements, or products that they offer. And here's the best part. While you're there checking it out and you find the product for you, use promo code TMS at checkout. And because you're a Mountainside listener, you'll receive 10% off your entire order every time that you visit. Onnit is simple, safe, trusted, and you can only get their products at onnit.com. And if you want to save 10%, use that promo code TMS at checkout at onnit.com. We are also brought to you by Drizzly. Drizzly is an alcohol delivery service that delivers booze right to your door. How great is that? They help us stock our mini bar here at the Mountainside Podcast. Drizzly is an amazing service that delivers beer, wine, liquor, your mixes, or whatever else you might need from the liquor store directly to your doorstep in as quick as 60 minutes from ordering. They have competitive pricing and use local businesses. So if you'd like to try Drizzly 100% risk-free, then all you have to do is open the show notes to this podcast right now, look for the Drizzly link, or you can simply visit themountainsidepodcast.com, scroll to the affiliates page, and look for the Drizzly logo. We are also brought to you by Uncanna CBD. This is a company that truly cares about CBD products at the highest quality level. All Uncanna products start with organically grown hemp cultivated from farms right here in the state of Colorado. They are then processed and formulated by experienced mechanical engineers and chemists. Uncanna offers incredible CBD at incredible prices. So whether you're looking for a full spectrum, broad spectrum, isolate CBD, or maybe even a CBD product for your pet, Uncanna's got you covered. They offer a multitude of different discounts for active military, veterans, first responders, medical care professionals, teachers, students, seniors, nonprofits, disadvantaged, and even you as a Mountainside listener. Now, the best way to figure out about these discounts and how you can save some money on CBD is simply visit uncanna.com. You can also find a link to Uncanna's website in the show notes wherever you're listening to the podcast right now. Simply visit the website, look if you fall under the criteria for any of these discounts, and if you don't, I have a discount code for you as well. Because you're a Mountainside listener, you can take 10% off your entire order every time that you visit Uncanna CBD simply by using promo code TMS at checkout. So if you're looking for a high-quality CBD product, or maybe you're already taking a CBD product, then you need to check out Uncanna and their amazing lineup of products.